Hi friends! I just stepped outside to get some sunshine. I thought today in this warm sun would be a good day to do our chameleon painting. So I'm going to head on into the studio and we'll get started. Just grab all your rainbow colors in black and white, your paint palette, your brushes, round brushes and flat brushes, and some water. And we'll get started with our cool summer chameleon painting. Okay, so we are gonna do this chameleon drawing on our canvas. Now, I actually had already done it on the canvas and then realized that I didn't record it correctly, so I erased it off the canvas. You will see it a little bit on the background, but I just drew it and I didn't worry too much. I just erased it partially so that we could draw it together again, okay? All right, normally I don't start with it already pre-drawn a little bit like this, but it's just because I couldn't get all the pencil off of it. So, all right, I'm going to draw this with you. We're going to draw this and get ready for our painting. And the painting can go a lot of different ways depending on your particular style. Sorry for all this eraser stuff. I reuse canvases that were started but not worked on, and so sometimes I do have a little bit of stray stuff around. I just try to make the best use of stuff. Okay, so let's start first with the shape of our head. We're going to come kind of in the middle here, around this area. We're going to start with the little fin that he has and make the face shape. Here's his little snout, and his sort of cheekbone area might come a little lower there. And then his belly goes all the way back. We're going to stop right there. Do our fin down, like sort of like a triangle. This shape is sort of triangular, if you can see that. And then we're going to do sort of a humpback half circle. And you can stop there if you want to lift your pencil, but what we're going to end up doing is making his tail into a heart. So we're going to just keep going down this way, and don't be afraid if you don't do it right the first time. You can just draw it in, and if you don't like the way it looks, just erase it. Like here, I think this should come down a little bit, so I'm going to erase that. Don't be afraid to make changes to your drawing. There are artists out there who have drawn so much that they're really good at doing things the first time. I am not one of those people. I've had times in my life when I've been really better at drawing than other times, just because of what's going on or practice that I've had. But I always erase and I look at things. And being a good artist means that you're able to look at your work and say, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work. So don't be afraid to erase, my friends. Now, he needs an eye, so we're going to put, you can already see his eye there. This is going to be sort of a cartoon rendering. It's not super realistic, okay? Now we need to do 4 legs. So what I did the first time that I drew this is I actually drew the legs first and then put the stick where he was standing underneath him. And you can change the look of your legs if you don't like them. I just went ahead and drew, and then the arm up here is sort of like a parenthesis. And 2 toes. He might have 3, I don't know, but maybe the third one's hidden. I can't remember if they have 3 toes or just 2. I was thinking it was just 2, but I could be wrong. All right, so we've got our gecko drawn, and I'm going to go back and erase these. This structure line stays because that foot goes behind, but these 2 structure lines need to be erased. So we're going to go ahead and clean that up. Well, basically what you have here is a half circle and a triangle with some adaptations to it, and a circle, basic shape. So these are more like long rectangles with little feet on the ends. Okay, there's a rectangle here and a rectangle here, and then 2 little feet. So simple shapes, and then we're bringing that tail around into a heart. And now it's time for us to draw the stick that he's on, okay? So as I said before, this is more of a cartoon rendering, so we're not worried too much about exactness. We're going to kind of make a bumpy stick where this gecko is crawling on. And I'm going to bring my stick up here and then jot it off this way to make it kind of interesting in the picture, okay? All right, so our background is drawn, and now there's only one more thing that I did with my original drawing, which is that I put some little interesting stripes here. So you can do that, or you can leave it blank. It's really up to you as the artist. Because I'm doing a kids class, I'm gonna just make it as easy as possible, a lot like when you're doing a color page. Sometimes if I'm doing a more realistic, I would probably not draw these in ahead of time, and I would put them in with paint and make them a little bumpy. But we're doing a cartoon version. And then you can go down as far as you want to. I really probably should, I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to get rid of that guy and make him just a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to do one little small one right there and then just stop. Okay, so there is our cool chameleon. Our drawing is finished, and the next step will be to lay in our background and then paint our chameleon. So go ahead, you can stop the video now and make sure your drawing is the way that you like it. Don't be afraid to look at some pictures and see. There may be a different chameleon that you like better. You could do a drawing of this, but maybe a little different too. Okay, make it how you like it to be, and then meet me back and we'll paint. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is our background, and I've chosen to do these colors. I have a white, yellow, an orange, and a dark orange. Okay, but just find the colors that you like. I wanted to sort of do this chameleon in the sunshine, so that's what I'm going to do. And I have a piece of paper down here that I'm going to sort of swatch. I've got my brushes. I've got a couple of flat brushes and my round brushes, the ones that we use for this series for the most part. This one's a flat brush with an angle. Sometimes I like that one. I just grabbed it to see. Okay, and some water and my paint rag, of course. I am not sure of the colors I want to use for this yet, but what I want to do is, I'm thinking I want to do like a sunshine ray around this guy. So we're going to kind of use, I'm going to put a little dot on there, kind of where we're going to focus our lines from. Okay, so we're not going to draw the lines, but I'm going to have this sort of ray of sunshine going behind this guy. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my palette and I'm going to mix a lot of this color. I haven't done this ahead of time, but I wanted some bright, sort of orangish yellow color to paint the background. Then I'm going to make just a little bit more of this, putting the orange and a little bit of the yellow and some white. I'm kind of messing up my palette for now, but we can wash it in between. We don't want it to be too vibrant. We want it to have a little bit of a pastel-y kind of look, I guess. Not too pastel, but... All right, so this is our main color, and then we'll go in with something a little, maybe a little darker for the next part. But what I want to show you is, mentally, we are going to go from here out like a sun ray. Of course, we don't want to paint our chameleon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one in the center, going this direction, right at the back of that guy. And as he comes out, it fans to where it gets bigger here than here. Okay? Now, you could paint the whole thing one color and then add those stripes in. That'd be one way you could do it. So, I might try that too, actually. Let's just go ahead and cover our canvas. This might be a little easier to do it this way. So, cover your canvas with this bright, sunny, sort of orangish yellow color. Missing your stick that he's on, the little twig that he's standing on. And like I say, if you don't want to put yours in the sunshine, well, you don't have to do the way that I'm doing it. You could put any color back there. If you wanted to do blue like the sky and put some clouds or put some other foliage around, that would be fine too. I'm just doing this in sort of a cartoon motif for fun because I love color. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love color. Don't forget to get the sides of your canvas and the top. I'm going to come in here and do this thing right here. And we'll have to go back in there with a smaller brush to do the parts that are inside there. And I'm just sort of doing texture-y kind of marks on the bigger sections. And when we get to the little smaller sections, I'm being a little bit more careful. So just go ahead and get your space filled in. Looks like I'm almost out of color. I hope I don't have to mix anymore, but if I do, it's all right. And I'm doing this painting today with acrylic paint. But you could use tempera, or you could do watercolor. Watercolor is a little bit different application, but it's whatever you got. Or you could do it with markers and crayons. Now I'm putting the sun all around him, but you could also do ground or something down there if you like it better, but this is just really supposed to be a fun painting, not a realistic one. All right, so I've got these in here. Now I'm going to quickly change brushes really fast to this, maybe the smaller one, this brush here, my mid-range size. Round brush, okay? Get some of that color on here, and then we're just going to come in here and go right around this chameleon. And I realized in my other part of my video that I said gecko, but this is not a gecko, this is a chameleon. So for those of you paying really close attention, I kind of flubbed that up. Okay, right around his little crest and his mouth. And right in here. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is take our palette and we're going to mix up the color that we want to bring out from there. So let's take a little bit of this dark orange and kind of mix it around in there. I actually kind of like it just slightly muted. So I'm putting the color that we started with before and then just adding a little bit of that orange in there. So it's just slightly darker. Let's see how we like that. Now I'm going to scrape all that off, and I think I'm going to use my, for right now I'm going to use my large round and lay in the stripes coming from this direction. Oh, maybe that's not dark enough. Maybe we need to darken it up a little. Might need to darken it up a little bit. I added more orange to it. It's not showing up on our other color, although I like it. So we're coming from the center point, we're imagining it going out from there, okay? You can see kind of how I'm doing that. I'm imagining it going from that point. Okay, time to reload. Okay, coming from here. You see that our sun rays get bigger as they go away from our chameleon, okay? So this guy's going to come here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just to give the impression of the sun shining. And let's do a little here. We're just really giving just the variance of color. It doesn't have to be super strictly orange. You know, you can sort of fade it out a little bit with your brush. Just kind of blend those edges a little bit just to show that it's a little different, but it's not super important that it be super clear, okay? So coming from here again, getting bigger as we go out. This is very happy painting. I'm not really big on yellow, but I do like orange. I don't tend to wear a lot of yellow. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I like the way it looks in paintings, but I actually prefer like a yellow ochre color, which is sort of a subdued yellow, more muted tone. Now, I have hit this a little bit, but we're going to paint over that. We're trying to leave it there so we can see it, but we don't need to worry if we get messy, okay? All right. So we're getting some sun coming out, some rays emanating from our point here. This one's not quite right. It's actually ended up being more like there, but some more rays over here. I'm just visually giving myself an idea from starting here where my line would be. Okay, reboot. And then you can come in and kind of fade it out a little. I think this would come back here like this. We can fan these out, just smooth them in a little bit. We just want the slightest impression that there's a variance of color, like the sun is shining. Okay, loading up again. Going out from there. Now, after this dries just the slightest bit, I don't know, maybe we want to make this just a little bigger here, just to kind of blend it into the other. I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to bring a dry flat brush in here, and I'm just going to hit this, just to kind of smooth out some of those. Now, you don't have to, but I don't want it to be a distraction from the painting. I just want it to accentuate the painting. It's not about these rays of light necessarily. It's about the chameleon. So we're just going to sort of blend it just a little bit. When you get a little bit full in your brush, you can clean it out in your paint rag and then just kind of smooth these out until you're happy with the look. Okay, so now we are going to let this dry for a minute, and then we'll come back and paint the gecko. Not the gecko, the chameleon. What's wrong with me? Paint the chameleon in the stick and finish up our details. Okay? I'm going to go clean my palette and my brushes to get ready.